Hello, John. Good afternoon. I want to take this opportunity once to thank you for taking time to speak to us on the importance on this World Radio Day. To start with, can you briefly introduce yourself?
My name is John Masuku. I come from Zimbabwe, but at the moment I'm working as the UNESCO 2023 World Radio Day International Campaign Coordinator, and I'm the point person regarding World Radio Day for UNESCO, representing 195 member countries of the United Nations. So I've been working with UNESCO since October, preparing the materials for this day on our website, which is being used by different radio stations, and also campaigning using the links from that website so that as many countries as possible celebrate World Radio Day. My background is in broadcasting in Zimbabwe, having started in 1974, working for different stations, radio and television, Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation, Radio Voice of the People, right from the grassroots, so starting as an announcer, as a DJ, as a soccer commentator, going into management until I became a director of the last station that I headed.
Thank you very much, John, for your response. You said that you have been working with UNESCO to prepare the World Radio Day 2023. In that in common, and then we have also known that radio is a very powerful tool when it comes to promoting peace and also understanding different cultures across the globe. What do you think about this?
Radio is a very easily accessible medium, and also it can communicate in any language, and it knows no barriers even when it comes to literacy. So even those people who have not gone to school, as long as they can speak their language and also understand their language, they can be communicated with. They can also be educated through radio. So UNESCO actually promotes that kind of interaction where radio is used to develop people by giving them information regardless of their status in life in order for them to improve their status, which is why they really emphasize on community radio stations, because through community radio stations they are then able to broadcast, to have programs or radio stations that broadcast to the very ordinary people, and that also use those very ordinary people to broadcast to their own communities. So radio plays that very, very important role in reaching out every sector of the population. It does not discriminate.
Thank you, John. Talking of community radio station and what community radio station does across the globe, it gives an impression that you once had a great passionate about community radio station. And then I may tend to ask, what drove you to do a story maybe about our station, that is Mtaani Radio, and later it features even on the UNESCO magazine during the World Radio Day. What drove you actually to do that particular story about Mtaani Radio, which is one of the community radio stations?
I'm generally someone who enjoys writing about radio development in Zimbabwe, where I live, and in many parts of the world. So I don't have any boundaries when it comes to interviewing and writing about radio, which is how I got to write about Mtaani Radio and the great works that the station was doing during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I wrote that story because it was unique. There was a lot of innovation, there was a lot of creativity, which we wanted to share with the whole world so that they would know that in Kenya there's Radio Mtaani, which has come up with different ways of making programs, different ways of interviewing people, even under very difficult conditions of a pandemic. So you'll find I've been writing for magazines such as Radio World International as well as Red Tech, which deal specifically about radio, and I've enjoyed doing that over the years. I also write for local newspapers here in columns where I write about World Radio Day, as well as other stories that are of interest to the radio industry.
We all know that radio plays a significant role in enhancing democratic discourse by providing platforms for diverse opinion and public engagements. Has the public used radio to also spread fake news, or has it also used it to spread among communities, and how can this be overcome?
Our theme for this year is radio and peace, and we're saying with regards to radio, it should be involved in conflict resolution, and it can only do that if it is balanced radio, when the program makers are professionals who have been trained how to make programs that are balanced, that have got information that is verified. So that way, while you allow for democratic space, you also make sure that you don't only give that democratic space to one side of the coin and leaving the other side. A good radio program maker in discussing an issue would look at different points of view, put them together, or bring in people with different points of view, moderate them to argue some of the things in a way that is not or should not lead to any fights, but to a solution to that problem. Yes, radio should not be used to enhance hate to enhance divisions, but should bring people together through professional radio journalism that has got checks and balances with regards to the content that you'll be creating or that you'll be making. Digitalization is good for the development of radio. There are so many things that have changed and have been simplified because of digitalization. So it is the way to go in future. Gone are the days where we would have loads and loads of equipment to carry in order to be able to do radio, but with small gadgets we are able to make radio as well as receive radio, and we should utilize that, because even the listeners themselves are now able to access some of these gadgets and listen to radio from there. In the past, you will recall that we used to carry very heavy equipment to go out and record the Nagras, the Tanbags and the Ewers. But nowadays, with your phone, some of the phones actually record top quality radio programming, and even the recorders which you put in your pocket, and you're able to do a lot of wonders out there in the field. You're even able to edit some programs while you're out there in the field and just send the program to the station, and they're able to broadcast it as a program that has already been edited in the studio at the station, yet you'd have done it on the phone or on some of the gadgets that we now use nowadays. So digitalization has really played an important role, just like the internet has also played an important role in making sure that we reach many places very quickly. Even some of the interviews nowadays can be done using the internet, using WhatsApp or calling through WhatsApp, which is less expensive, and so forth. So all those things, we upload them. Let's take advantage of them. Let's not allow people who are outside radio to take advantage of them, because they will end up distorting them and spreading misinformation and false news. But we want them to have no chance of doing that, because by the time they want to spread fake news, the authentic people in radio would have already shared verified information.